You're the outlier if you feel weird about it, because we here respecting the fandom or whatever it may be and just trying to have fun with it. Like nothing should be that serious for you to be like, oh, I don't like seeing black people in this and that. Like, this is not even your product, bro. And of course, this wasn't like the first day. I wasn't on my Wolf of Wall Street the first day, but being aware of the business cases, especially now, if people are coming out of school, being aware of that early will put you way ahead and still allow you to do something that you love.
What happens when culture, once dismissed as niche, finally takes center stage? How do Black creatives who grew up loving comics, anime, and gaming find their voice in a space that hasn't always made room for them? Today, I get to speak to a creator who is amplifying Black nerd culture in a way that's funny, relatable, and deeply necessary. The host of The Ultimate Blurred, Shahlayo Ranson. Are you ready to get seriously creative?
Just take a look behind the creative.
Hi, Shahlayo.
How's it going?
It's going well.
Awesome.
Thank you for being here.
Of course. I'm hyped. I'm not usually getting interviewed.
I know.
You know, I'm usually asking the questions.
That's what I'm saying. So try not to flip the script on me today, okay?
For sure.
But I love introing you. But
thank you.
If you had to say it in your own words, who is Shahlayo Ranson?
What they say, a multi-hyphenate. Mm-hmm. You know, I do video production, marketing. I just love being creative. Since I've been a kid, it's always been learning photography from my mom, teaching myself how to do graphic design. Went to college, undergrad for audio production, and then flipped that into a career in video production and marketing strategy. So it's just everything kind of built on itself over the years of just being involved in the creative space and figuring out how to make a business out of it and have fun with it. So
that's really cool. I feel like, to your point, you're very multifaceted. And I think it almost gives you like this holistic view of being a creative, but you have this amazing podcast. And I'm curious, from your vantage point, how has blurred culture, especially for those who are not familiar with blurred culture,
right.
I want to hear your definition of how you would describe blurred culture.
Yeah, for sure.
What is blurred culture?
All right. So, I mean, at the simplest is being a Black nerd. Like you're in the nerd culture, but it's from the angle of understanding all the other culture that comes with being people like us, hip hop, all that stuff, how that kind of infuses into the culture, things like that. I mean, Black culture is global, just in a lot of other different cultures. And this is just one facet of it where we've kind of found our space in the nerd culture, geek culture, all of that type of stuff. And we just having fun with it and just exploring it with all the other fans of the same kind of subcultures and niches.
Yeah. How did you get involved in blurred culture?
I mean, for me, it's been sci-fi is one of my favorite genres, like of all time. I think one of the first movies I ever watched was Aliens. My mom had it on VHS tape. She had recorded it off of the TV, and we've watched it together like over 100 times. So as a kid, I'm watching Aliens. Now, Aliens, like that's not a kid movie, but like we was in there hype. And, just things like that. I still remember her taking me to see the first Blade movie, us going to see The Matrix when it came out in 1999 together, and then discussing it afterwards. So it's always been sci-fi. When Jurassic Park first came out, I read the novel as a kid before the movie came out. So I've always been into sci-fi, stuff like that. And just as I got older, got into anime, things like that. I've always loved video games and being technical, just gadgets and stuff like that. So all of those different interests kind of just piled on itself. And now I'm here with all these different things I grew up with interacting with.
I love that. Oh my goodness. And I think it's so amazing that your mother, you mentioned your mother, inspired, almost cultivated that, you know?
For sure.
How do you feel like you led yourself into, I don't know if it's your mom or if it was something that you just drew more to that, you know, kind of piqued your interest out of all of those different inspirations? How did that lead you to choosing one of those paths to, you know, go into a career with?
I think it was kind of like the freedom that I had growing up. Like my mom would, if I came to her with, hey, I want to explore this. I remember us going to, there used to be this store called Pearl Paint in New York where they would have art supplies. And I had this idea when I was a kid that I wanted to draw comics. So she went with me and bought me like all the inking tools to like draw comics and stuff like that. And she was always, if I was like, I want to try something, she'd figure out how to, you know, give me that opportunity. Yeah. So growing up, it was just coming into those type of things. And as I got to high school, I had an interest in music. And I ended up going to undergrad for audio production. So that happened like that. Then once I graduated college, I was doing audio for movies and stuff like that, short films, music videos, and started a production company with some of my friends from college, and then had the opportunity to start shooting videos. Wow. And I already had kind of that interest in photography and videography. So once I saw that, it was like, hey, I'm going to go execute on this. That was where, I mean, honestly, money was coming in. So it was like, oh, this video stuff, I already like it and is making some money for me. So let me start exploring that. Right. And it just aligned with my creative and technical skills. Right. And I just kept cultivating it because it was one I was seeing where it could grow for me and it was fun. So it just came together.
I love that. And there is this anecdote and a very popular piece of advice that's going around now that tells you not to follow your passion.
Right.
And in your case, right? Yeah. You followed your passion and your passion actually became a financial bedrock for you.
Sure.
And it became your career. And not just a career, but it became your business.
Exactly.
And I think this is really extraordinary for us to explore. I want to park here. I want to double click here. I like to say double click, right? Let's open up the page because I'm curious, you know, do you feel as though this obviously was something you had honed for years, right? And I love that your mom helped to shape that. But obviously you had a technical skill set to compound and couple with that. So talk to us a little bit about following your passion, but also exploring like these different skill sets technically that help to shape that into a career and into a business.
I mean, for me, I hear all the time, like, don't follow your passion. But I also hear, like, if you love it, you won't work a day in your life, which is a lie because this stuff is definitely still work. But, but it's like, I think for me, it's being aware and not just jumping into the fun of it. If you have an interest in a passion, it's exploring how to make your passion work for you. I think a lot of people, they just jump into, oh, I like this. That might not make you money, but you might be able to figure out how to infuse it with other skills or things that can then grow into a business. Yes. Whereas like, if you're just like, oh, I only like painting the leaves on 4-leaf clovers, like, all right, nobody's paying for that. But you know, you can find ways to build around something where it will allow you to grow into a business. Like for me, the video, knowing the technical skills of video production, editing, stuff like that, that was great. But I also had done internships where I was learning marketing strategy. And then I went back to grad school and got a master's in marketing and communications because I knew for corporate stuff,
Right.
they would be looking for the strategy as
Yes.
well as the skill of producing the content that the strategy calls for.
Yes.
So it wasn't just, oh, I just want to shoot videos. Like I was looking at the business case for the skills that I had.
The campaign, the rollout.
Right, exactly. Because otherwise you get pigeonholed with, oh, that guy just shoots our videos. Whereas you could be that guy and be the guy with the strategy, and then that's a higher position with a bigger salary.
Yeah.
So it's like, those were the things I kind of looked at to like, and of course, this wasn't like the first day. I wasn't on my Wolf of Wall Street the first day. I found my way over the years, but being aware of the business cases, especially now, if people are coming out of school, being aware of that early will put you way ahead and still allow you to do something that you love.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And speaking of something you love, obviously within your Rolodex of skill sets, you founded this podcast, and that seems like it became an almost outlet. Maybe I'm putting that into
definitely. It's fun.
for you, right?
Yeah.
But I'm curious, I think the blurred culture has tons of subcultures, right, within it, like you mentioned, actually. And I'm curious, through your business and through the technical skills that you used to really found your career, where did the Ultimate Blurred really come into that?
So I've always had these type of conversations with my friends, things like that. We argue about, oh, what's the best anime or whatever it may be, like what's the best sci-fi movie, things like that. And like you said, it was an outlet that came from the technical skills, because I meet people all the time who are trying to figure out, oh, like I want to start a podcast, things like that. But it does have somewhat of a cost of entry, because if you're not just doing an audio podcast, you got to know editing, you got to know shooting, you got to know lighting, you got to know audio, all of that. And it was like, oh, I do that for years. So that barrier to entry is lower for us. Right. So let's execute and do something fun, since we have all this stuff sitting around already.
Right.
So it was just kind of a natural extension to, hey, we see a gap in the market of course, there are other Black nerds, blurs, people talking about these type of things, and all credit to them for sure, because it's so great to see us talking about these things, but we also knew we could do this and execute at a high level and talk about what we wanted to talk about, which who doesn't like doing that?
Yeah.
And we knew people would be interested in the takes we had to say. Right. And it's turned out that way. We've had a great feedback, great reaction to the 2 seasons of our show we've had so far.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something really, really, I think, powerful, right? There was this gap in the market, or this white space that didn't really exist there.
Yeah.
And I think now we're seeing so many more communities really emerge with blurred culture and gaming and anime. And even, I know my son, like, he is a blur. Like I used to work in gaming. We were talking about this, and a large part of understanding who my son was really became so much more ingrained, because I could see, like, oh my gosh, this is my son's identity.
Exactly.
Like, I see that. And I think there's so much power in that, because the more and more there is a conversation that is held for this growing community, but really a community that's been there this entire time, that nobody really known or maybe knew how to address, or maybe was paying attention to, let's be honest.
Right, for sure.
How did you find, like the power to step into this white space, this gap in the market, and to center yourself and say, in spaces where maybe I wasn't Black enough, or spaces where, I may be the only Black person in this space. How did you step into that brilliance?
I mean, for me, it's never been kind of an issue to do that type of thing, because of just how I grew up. Like, I grew up in New York, where I'm surrounded by different cultures all the time. I went to prep school for high school. I went to the Lawrenceville school, where it wasn't a whole lot of people that look like me. Luckily, I was fortunate to have people who look like me, in addition to friends who didn't look like me, and be able to step into that environment and have a great time, a great experience. But it's never been like an issue. I'm like, if I'm talking about the same thing you talking about, then that's our common thing. Like, what we look like shouldn't be the deciding factor. If we talking about the same subject, we talking about, hey, what anime we like, then if you got a problem with me talking about it, then you're the weird one. Like, I'm not going to be the one feeling awkward because we both fans of the same thing. So with that in mind, I'm like, yo, we can talk to anybody about these things. And you're the outlier if you feel weird about it, because we here respecting the fandom or whatever it may be and just trying to have fun with it. Like, nothing should be that serious for you to be like, oh, I don't like seeing black people and this and that. Like, this is not even your product, bro. You a customer. So, like, you trying to gatekeep and you a customer, like, what we doing here? Like, go that way.
I love it. And with that being said, I think y'all need a break. You need a break? You might need to get some water after that. Okay? Let's get a break and drink some water while Shahlayo tells you about yourself. If you feel like you are ever an outlier, you need to flip that on its head. Okay? But here's something else you need to put your head on. We have a great hack for you. If you are feeling like you are having a block, a creative block, there is a sleep hack that I want you guys to learn about right now. Did you know that how you sleep makes all the difference of how you wake up, how you work, how you create? And I'm not just talking the time you go to bed, but I mean the type of pillows you sleep on, the shape, the fluff, what it's actually made of. You need to be sleeping on Coop Sleep Goods customizable pillows. I personally sleep on the original adjustable pillow cut out for neck support because I'm a side sleeper. The original maternity adjustable pillow, I'm not pregnant, and the original adjustable body pillow, but because they support my back. Lumbar support is important. But do you know Coop has a new pillow, the orthopedic pillow? It's designed for neck pain relief and cervical support. And this is great if you wake up with crazy neck pain or posture discomfort. It's ergonomic and it provides targeted cervical spinal support to encourage proper alignment and comfort throughout the night. And who doesn't want that? It has customizable spinal alignment. It has 4 adjustable zones with 3 fill chambers and a customizable neck bolster. And this all helps you align your head, your neck, your shoulders, and your spine to help you reduce strain. It supports stability and your breathability, okay? It has memory foam, and I love memory foam. The structure helps you support yourself through the night, so you don't have to reposition yourself and keep rolling over and over all night. And obviously, it's Coop, so there's easy adjustability all around. So everyone can personalize the pillow as you get older or as your needs change. This makes it an excellent long-term solution for ongoing cervical support and comfort. Can you tell these pillows are designed to solve your sleep problems? Visit coopsleepgoods.com/Dr. Christelle. That's Dr. Christelle for 20% off of your first purchase and get the sleep you need with the pillows you deserve. Shahlayo, you have a phenomenal mindset, okay? And that's one of the things I think sometimes creatives are straddled with. It's these mindset blocks that prevent them from producing their best work, getting an idea out into the stratosphere, putting it out into the world, giving and sharing their gifts with their audience, with people who can really benefit from their brilliance.
For sure.
I have to ask you, where do you think your mindset and your own sense of your own potential and owning your brilliance has really been fostered, or who has been influenced by?
I mean, it's all come from just how I grew up with my mom. Like, she always made sure that I had a strong sense of self and was empowered to explore the things that I was interested in and didn't feel ashamed to like explore those things. Like, I mean, growing up as a kid, I'm in different spaces, all type of stuff with the knowledge of being myself, not worried about trying to fit in like somebody. I mean, of course you fit into your community, but not at the detriment of who you are.
Yes.
So making sure that you still have your identity, even while you know, interface, make friends, things like that was super important. She always made sure that I had that ingrained. And then as I went through different phases, like I said, going to prep school, boarding school for high school, just that was a place I always tell people who ask about that experience, like, boarding school, if you know who you are, you're fine. If you don't know who you are, you might have more problems because it's a whole new kind of environment of people you may not have ever been around.
Yeah.
And if you're kind of amorphous on who you are, you gonna shift with those different kind of influences.
Yep.
So things like that is just knowing yourself and then moving through life like that. And
that.
she always made sure that I had that as I grew up, so that now as an adult, I can kind of have that kind of cardinal point of, I know this is me. I may have to do different things to like work in the spots or whatever, but that's not at the detriment of losing myself in any given environment.
I love that. Well, let's give a shout out to your mother.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to send this episode to your mother. Everyone listening, send this episode to your mother and tell her thank you right now. Okay?
For sure.
And I think that's important and it's powerful, even in business, right? Especially as a creative. You know, a lot of creatives are sometimes between two worlds, right?
Mm-hmm.
The corporate world and between the entrepreneurial world.
Yeah.
And I think every creative gets to choose. I think that is a beautiful opportunity to, in one area, sometimes you're really honing and refining your gifts. And in one space, in a corporate space, sometimes you're getting paid to learn a gift.
Yeah.
You're getting paid to train and to refine and to learn. And in another space, you're getting to learn it from the ground up.
Exactly.
Right? You can go as wide as you want to or as deep as you want to. And for you, you've had experiences in both of these realms. So as a creative, what would you say is one of the most important facets of how these two worlds have either played together well in your skill set as an entrepreneur or as someone who has a business? Or how has it taught you to maybe create lanes, or maybe this isn't something that you take into one area or environment or the other?
I mean, for me, it's been an interesting experience because with the corporate situations I've been in, they were explicit from the beginning. Like, we see you have all these skills on your resume. You're not going to be able to do all of this here. Like, we need you to focus on this one particular thing, which is cool. Like, I mean, it was like, all right, whatever. But at the same time, like with the being an entrepreneur and freelance stuff, it was like, all right, I need to take that effort of making sure I keep these skills sharp on my own, because these are still valuable skills. So I didn't, even though I had to scale it back somewhat just because of the, the workload of my main job, it was like, all right, let me just keep in my mind, don't let these skills go to waste. And with that, it was interesting because eventually I did get to a position with like my last company where I got to use the skills that they told me I wouldn't use in my previous position in a different position.
Wow.
So, and I was like the only person in the team who had both of those skill sets to really be able to execute in that way. So that was like, all right. And then what I really loved about it was it let me understand how those skills get executed on a large level, because a freelance job, I mean, of course, you have scale of freelance jobs, but for me personally, I've always run as like a 1, 2, 3 person team. But I was able to see how to execute on a Fortune 500 company level with that job. Right. So it was things like that, was seeing the scale of things, economy of scale, how things work in a bigger company, all that type of stuff. So now I have the knowledge of one-man band to Fortune 500 company, and I have that knowledge of how things scale even on my personal projects.
Right.
So I always take it just as, learning experience and making sure that if you're not able to hone a skill in one particular situation, you keep doing it on your own. That's like, you don't only practice at the gym if you're an athlete. Like, you got to be at home practicing too on the off season. Yeah. So it's always making sure you stay sharp, because you never know when a new opportunity is going to come.
Right.
And at the same time, a corporate job, you don't own that company. Right. So that's never promised forever. Like, you could be in a job for 20 years and they be like, well, the stockholder said so. Bye. So things like that, you better stay sharp, because it's your personal skill set that's going to determine how well you do no matter what goes on.
Right.
So
that's such a good question for me to ask you, because maybe this is part of it, working on your skill set while you may be doing anything else, right? Your creative skill set. Is that the best place to start in someone's journey if they want to start a business, or if they have started a business but they don't know how to monetize it? What do you think is the best way to really get that jump start?
I think definitely making sure your skills are sharp, because at the beginning, for me personally, like I said, when I started the production company, when I graduated college, we did free work, because it was like we needed to build our portfolio, things like that. So you're probably always going to have to do free work, unless the spec work and practice you do is just amazing to where people are like, I'll pay you for that right now. You're going to need some time to like sharpen up. Yeah. But I would say focusing on building your personal skills to a level of where people are willing to pay you is very key, because you don't want to play with people's money trying to learn on their dime.
Yeah.
Of course, some people might be okay with that, but that's not a reputation I think you want to attach to your business. So it's like, make sure you do that work before you start trying to get paid.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
That's just my mentality about it, because I'm kind of like a super stickler for details, and I hate people complaining, and I don't want a client to come back complaining. Right. So it's like, make sure you're sharp and understand business as well as the creative too, because I think that's something with a lot of creatives. They focus so much on the creative part and not the business part, and it's all important. It's like, you can't be like, hey, I want to get paid X amount of money, and then you're shoddy on the business side. Like, you're late, you're not sending invoices, et cetera, et cetera. You have to, if you want to go that route, you're both a business person and a creative at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
I love that. And one of the entrepreneurs I like to follow because of their discipline is Alex Hormozy. I don't know if you're familiar. One of the things he always gives advice to young entrepreneurs or business owners is if you're just starting out, to your point, work with a lot of people and exchange time.
Exactly.
Do the work with them and say, hey, like, how can I learn from you? Like, are you willing to help me? Like, I'll do this for you for free. Will you be willing to introduce me to somebody else so I can learn from them and I can do this for free to them? And that becomes like a ripple effect of how I can probably collect recommendations, how I can probably collect testimonials.
And that's super key, because it's valuable. Like, especially nowadays, I think Issa Rae said, like, network horizontally rather than up.
Peer mentors.
People are too quick to like want to jump levels when there's like, you have people around you probably that y'all can benefit from each other. And that's key on being able to execute and have a base of contacts for when you jump to the next level. Because there's no point in trying to jump the next level and then you're alone and you don't have that practice.
Right.
Because then you're unprepared.
Yeah.
So networking horizontally, key, like you said, networking with people who you may not get paid on something, but you may get a piece for your portfolio that'll get you paid. I'm not saying do free work forever. Like I'm 100% against that. But like there is a period where it's going to be free practice.
Absolutely.
So
I love it. And I'm curious, at the Creative Corporate, really behind the creative, we love talking about brilliance, right? Really, this is a unique set of competencies that really are you and uniquely describe who you are and what you can do that no one else can replicate. And I know you talked a lot about the ultimate blurred, right? Like Shahlayo is the ultimate blurred, right?
Yeah.
And how would you describe Shahlayo as a brilliant ultimate blurred, even without your title? How would you describe your own brilliance?
I would say my brilliance surrounds understanding the interplay of skills. Like I've always made sure to kind of cultivate that over the years and it may make things more difficult for me, honestly, because it's just like I have a lot of different interests. Yeah. But like I was saying earlier, I always wanted to make sure I understood the business case of how the things I was interested in could tie together and, be lucrative for me. So it was like, all right, I know video production, I know graphic design, all that type of stuff. I was fortunate to be getting into the market around the time of like the pivot to video on the internet. So that was where I saw, okay, I have that skill. Now, how can I interface it with something where I'm more of a leader than just an executor?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to just be the person they're like, all right, shoot this video in a business. It's like, I want to be the person where I can oversee that and, like I said, build the strategy for what we're doing with the video. So I think I always try to keep in mind those kind of interplays. And that's what really helps me like shine in my particular space. Where it's like, I'm not just locked in here. I can execute on multiple things. I can supervise those things because I know them from a technical aspect as well. And then I can even go on the higher layers of what's the strategy for those things. So I can either be the person or lead the team. And that I think is a corporate mindset in the creative space.
I love it.
I feel like that's where my brilliance comes, just seeing those interplays and figuring out, all right, how many different places on the team could I be and being able to execute wherever I get plugged into.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I enjoy a lot too as well. But I think you found your way to brand your brilliance as the ultimate blurred.
Yeah.
Because you have these so many different facets about yourself.
For sure.
You've branded yourself as the ultimate.
For sure.
Blurred. I love it.
I got to give a shout out to my co-host too, my boy Uncle Charles. I don't want to think I'm leaving him behind. We out here. But yeah, we love just understanding the tech stuff on that level and figuring out the places to be creative and have those conversations.
I really value that.
Yeah.
And for someone else who may be on their path to be their ultimate version of a blurred, what would you give them advice as, or how would you give them advice to find their inner blurred?
I would say really understand like what your interests are and don't be afraid of like showing that. Like nowadays, like we've had episodes about this, multiple episodes about it because it's a recurring theme, but nowadays the blurred culture isn't something to like be ashamed of. It's monetized, it's growing. You go on Instagram, wherever, we out there. So it's not something like back in the day where it's like, oh, I'm getting a Dragon Ball Z VHS from like Japan and I'm not telling my friends about it. It's like, nah, you're good now. So don't be afraid to voice what your interests are because nowadays being honest with your interests is the way to like make it. That
Yeah.
gives you the visibility.
Yeah.
And hiding it or being ashamed of it is nobody really cares that much. You gotta just go and be honest with what you like and find your community, because that's where it is. If you don't gatekeep, of course, but make sure you interface with those people. It's whatever you like, there's probably other people who like it too.
Right.
And with the internet, it's easier than ever to find them. So just go and be honest with your interests. There's no point in hiding it, being ashamed, whatever. I see people of all types with figuring out the intersectionalities of their interests.
Yeah.
I see people where they like anime and they like marketing, so they start an anime marketing company.
Yeah.
All type of stuff.
Sounds very cool.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you just got to think about it, find the business case if you're trying to monetize, or just find your community to where you can be around like-minded people and enjoy what it is that you like.
Well, can I tell you something, Shahlayo?
Yeah.
Can I tell you my secret that nobody really knows until now?
Is it the singing?
I do sing. How did you know that? Okay, well, everybody should know that now. Everybody should know. Okay, right here and right now. If you don't know, now you know. I sing, I songwrite. This is me. Okay?
Exactly.
But you must have seen that.
I
recently.
do research.
I've been talking more about it, okay?
Yeah, I do my research, even though it's not my show.
You know what? That's been one of the things. And for a long time, I used to journal. I love journaling, but I never sang because I was afraid of my voice. And that's why I used to write. Got you. You see that?
Yeah.
So I was hiding behind my voice by writing. But now I am starting to put my songs out there.
Good.
I released a song maybe it was 3 years ago now. And it actually, it's probably over 500,000 streams now on Spotify.
Okay.
I have like a plaque and everything.
Okay.
I make some royalties now. She makes a check. Okay.
That's dope.
Okay. But seriously, thank you for saying that. But talking of blurred culture, since I was a young child, like 4th grade, I'm a gamer.
Yeah.
But I loved The Sims. And there weren't a lot of people who were talking about The Sims. But I'm real nerdy because, and this is how a little bit of Atlanta I am as well. Okay. On YouTube, for people out there, I watch a Sims series that follows the format of Real Housewives of Atlanta, but it is in The Sims.
Wow.
It is made with Sims characters.
That sounds amazing. I never would have thought of that.
I'm just going to let you guys know it is highly produced and it is done very well. I will drop it in the show notes for everyone who wants to watch it. And you know what? People weren't telling other people that they liked The Sims until they saw Keke Palmer did it. And I was upset about that. I said, why couldn't it have, I should have done it first. I was angry about that. I said, no, but thank you, Keke, for doing that for many
The
people.
Sims is popping now.
Okay, it's fun.
All type of mods and stuff people
the
have.
mods make it funner.
Yeah.
You know, you got to juice it up, soup it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I have to say that I appreciate you talking about blurred culture.
Yeah, okay, for sure. It's so necessary. Like people scared of it when it's like, this stuff is awesome.
Yeah.
And there's so many different places for you to fit yourself in. It's like, why not?
Yeah.
Just talk about your interests, be a nerd a little bit, and it's fun for everybody.
Yeah, I love it. I agree. And I'm going to tell and ask you guys right now, being different is a superpower. And how are you owning your inner blurred? For everyone watching right now, go do something to own it. I want to thank you, Shahlayo, for being here today.
Of course.
And I want to thank you all for being here today as well. And follow us to learn a little bit more about how you can do this. And the Creative Corporate always wants you to know you can do this too by designing your career and branding your brilliance. We'll see you next time on Behind the Creative.
Let's take a look behind the creative.
Wow. I had to I needed support. That was so good. I really love that.
Yeah.
I really, really love that. You know what? And I want to talk to you about, I'm going to come back and ask you this question. It's not on my cue card, but there is someone who influenced that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to talk about that.
Okay. I saw the clips.
Mm-hmm.
We can just talk to each other. Do we need to go to the camera at any time or just is here?
If you ever feel like you want to personally break the fourth wall, you can.
Okay.
Furg is the only person who's ever done that.
Okay.
I noticed that.
That's because I'm crazy.
I know. In the last episode, I was like, Furg just looked at me. Can you tell me if I have any flyaways? I know next time I'm going to have a lady in here.
Are you sure that my
Shahlayo. At the last episode, I said, excuse me?
only women see that stuff.
I said, why did Furg not say anything?
My mind is like, it was Leo.
How dare he? Okay. I'm ready.